All right, guys. How's everybody doing this lovely Wednesday evening? This is Darude and Dial It In. And I'm going to start doing these chat streams with sort of a peer slash friend slash colleague call in as well. And today I am calling Mr. Dave Dresden, and we are actually going to do that quite soon. Dave says that he's ready, and let's add some light in my face. I'm calling Dave, and let's see how this is going to go. Technology is cutting edge. I'm not. Dave, say something right now.
Hello, 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 hello. There we go.
Yes.
I hear myself with a slight delay.
Oh, really? Can you deal with that?
I can deal with it.
Where is that coming from? Do you have the stream open as well?
No.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, we have Mr. Dave Dresden here with me. I have known Dave for quite a long time.
I think it was 2000.
Yes, 2000 or 2001, because I think my first recollection of you and Josh is at, what is it, IMS, or what's the award thing that was in Miami? Yeah. So we presented an award, and I'm dying to remember what it was or who it was for. But us three, we presented an award for.
Right, I think it was like the 2006 IDMAs or something like that. And It was, I think maybe it was the Best International DJ, if I recall.
Yeah, that was that. But yeah, that was not the first time we met. But I don't actually recall exactly when we met the first time. Do you?
I feel like we met over the phone because you were touring the United States with my friend Davey Gold, and he called me. And yes. I was like, telling you about how I took your track off of mp3.com and started playing it on grooveradio.com before it was a hit.
Yes.
And because I remember when I first heard Sandstorm, it's like you can't like ever forget, the first time you hear Sandstorm. And I was blown away. I was like, what is this? And, here we are 21 years later, really.
Yes. And I've always sort of in the scene, I've always known you. I've always had great respect for you and Josh for all the stuff you've done. But it's actually only the last few years that we've gotten to meet and hang out a little bit and actually get to know each other. And that's been very cool. Like for instance.
I think that Pavo's house was really the first time we actually really got to hang out for a number of days.
Absolutely. And
we had a great time there.
Well, yeah, what an incredible several days that was for a huge bunch of guys. We all, just for people to know, actually some of my calls, like you, some of my peers have been some of that group. Like I've talked to Mayan. Mayan was actually my first one almost a year ago doing these Dial It Ins. I've talked to Prof and Pavo, and I've talked to Super 8 and Tab, Andy. I'm forgetting somebody, but I've talked most of the guys, and everyone, it always comes back to the thing that it was mind-blowingly amazing, just chilling out, hanging. Some music was made, but also the world was made a lot better place during those days.
No idea what we were in for.
Yeah.
And it's kind of mind-blowing, like how innocent things were just a year ago when we did that. Was that October or November of 2019, I think?
It was November, yeah.
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 It was so beautiful there in Finland, with the sun setting at like 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yes.
With those beautiful white birch tree forests.
Yeah. You know what I love about I don't think I'm a spiritual guy. I don't know how to be like that or whatever, but I do like, maybe I could say like universe or happenstance kind of thing. And I do like people being in the business or knowing each other for a long time. And there's a really, really special thing in my history coming to US the first time. I played in Hartford, Connecticut, and I played with people you knew at that time. We didn't know each other.
Edit.
Yeah, Edit, and then Psydog, Rob was the one who actually booked me, and he booked me based on like an MP3 or somebody's imported vinyl, and then he and the other DJs in the area in Hartford and around Connecticut had just created a scene for me to come over, like privately. No booking agent was involved. He just booked me. And so I became friends later with Randy Boyer, who was DJ Rampage at that time, and you guys know each other. There's Christina Sky, who is in this small circle as well, and you guys, you lived together in LA, or
Randy and Christina did.
Yeah, they did.
Randy moved to LA to pursue his career in music.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Christina took him in, if I recall.
Something like that, yes.
So yeah, that's how that went.
Yeah. When did you go to California?
January 11th, 2000. I started off the millennium with a change.
Okay.
And it was literally like 3 days after I arrived when they were like, all right, your job is to find the best unknown new music for our station. Because I moved to LA to do a internet radio station called grooveradio.com. And they were like, you know, they were trying to groom me as to be like an American Pete Tong.
Yeah.
And so they were like, you need, there was a guy named Swedish Eagle who was running it. He's a kind of a legend.
I just did an interview with him last time I was in LA, like a year and a half ago or something.
He still does things. So,
Yeah.
And he's got to be in his 70s now. But he came up to me and he said, now, David, you need to go on mp3.com and find some of the unknown music. And I remember I found your song and I found PPK Resurrection on that site. And I was like, wow, this place is just great. I mean, you had to weed through like some of the worst music ever made to find those gems. But I was just such a fan of this site because of all the amazing things that I found on it.
Yeah. Wow. It's well, Swedish Eagle for one is weird and really cool to hear his name again. And yeah, I had probably a 10-year gap, but I visited his station and did an interview and a little mix when I think last time that I was in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that man changed my life. Seriously, like I don't even know what my life would have been had he not plucked me out of Connecticut to come to LA. And I remember he called me and told me about this opportunity, and I sat on it for weeks. And part of me was like, nah, because I had a great career in Connecticut. I was DJing 4 to 5 nights a week, making decent money.
What was your DJ name?
Dave the Wave.
I just wanted you to hear, or I just wanted to hear you say it, because I got to know you as Dave Dresden, so
right.
it was. There's nothing funny about it, but at the same time, I've never heard you be like a radio jock. It would be fun to hear you present. This is Dave the Wave and WXYZ 89.5.
And it's a talent that I forgot that I had, honestly. Like, I stopped doing radio in 2001, really, when Groove Radio went under, um, for no fault of its own. We were one of the top internet radio stations in all of internet radio.
Yeah.
But I forgot that I had this talent until basically I was forced into doing, Club Quarantine because of quarantine. And I actually really love Club Quarantine because it has been able to help me tap into this talent that I forgot that I had.
Yeah, look, I mean, I didn't forget or I didn't have the talent. I still don't know if I do, but now that I've been streaming, I was streaming before a little bit, but now that I've been regularly streaming, and I've also gotten a little bit into the technology of it, and I'm also very excited about sort of newfound uses to related skill sets. Like I think that making music and editing video, they're both very techy and similarly, I don't know, you need to think about it or be somehow creative. So this has been very cool for me. While I think, we both would like the lockdown to not have happened at all, but that's, I guess, what you have to do. You have to find something that both hopefully carries over financially, but especially for us, I think for me, at least half, or if not more, has been basically mental thing, like having these streams and feeling there's worth in your time or in your doing, connecting with, say, you or connecting with these people who are watching us now. It's valuable for me, and I just hope that it's valuable for them as well.
I mean, I think it is because, these lockdowns have really been, psychologically damaging for so many people.
Yeah.
So many reasons, like just being alone or being, not being able to go anywhere, or the fear of getting the virus, or, the loss of income. It's just, it's so damaging to people. But, at the same time, we've also made so many new friends from this, and it's, we were handed a bushel of lemons.
Yeah.
And we made gallons of lemonade with it.
True. And I mean, I'm reading here now the chat. There's people who say CQ is family,
I should probably...
Guys are saying thanks to you, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, that's what it is. Personally, I've not only been streaming, I've also been stream hopping. I mean, you've seen me many, many, many times on yours. I can't listen to your stream or anybody's for 8 hours, but I'll pop in for sometimes 5 minutes, and sometimes that turns into 3 hours lurking or whatever. And it's really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I really appreciate all the support that you have given Club Quarantine by coming on.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
We've had a lot of fun with you.
All right, so... Yes, I've had a lot of fun with you as well. That was a perfect lead-in to topic we need to touch, like we did last time when we spoke as well. So,
Dave Storm?
Yes, I've made a strict thing of this stream. I'm not going to play any music on these because I don't want the copyright strikes, and I want these chats to be on to have them as VOD. So I'm not going to play any of that right now, but. It was such a fun thing, and to discover you doing the vocal bit, and then I literally just happened to catch you one time on one track that you hadn't even played Sandstorm or didn't play at that time, but you said, and this is cool. I take this very, very. It was a compliment. It was the biggest compliment. You played something that was really fast, like 140 or 45. It was a really banging techno or something track. And then, like I actually sampled in the track as well, like, what do you do after this? Or what do you go after this with? And then you said, like, well, you could go digga digga da. And there was a joke and a compliment and everything just like in one. And then especially when I started putting it together, just sampling your vocal bits there. It was just.
I get to sing Sandstorm, and people like it.
Yes. Exactly.
And people like it. I love
Exactly.
that 90s effect.
Yep.
That Armand Van Helden stretching effect.
Yes. And actually I did it. I like stretched it once, but it was too short. So I just stretched the same thing again and another time. So then that's why it's actually so, 90s choppy sounding.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I'm impressed that you found one part where I was singing it a cappella, that you could do it, because usually I'm singing it over tracks.
It actually wasn't an a cappella. It was on that track, but I was able to EQ stuff out. And then, do you know Isotope RX?
Yes.
RX has this music rebalance thing where you can. It basically splits it into, like, it has some AI to it. It splits it into 4 stems, and one is the vocal. And it was sort of clean enough, masking with other sounds, that I could make it happen.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been wondering, and we actually didn't really think about or talk about that too much, but so you guys have been together for a long time. You've made a lot of music together with Josh. How does that, do you have clear roles? Like, for me, I would stereotypically think that you're the DJ guy who knows what works on the dance floor, and he's the music guy. How much overlap is there, and what do you do when you start working on music?
G&D started where I literally came in as the DJ.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of production experience. I made a track with a guy in Hartford who was named Mal Bell. You might have heard of him. He played at the competing club called Velvet.
Okay.
And we made a track together, and that was my first ever real studio experience. And I liked it. I thought it was fun, but I've always been more about playing music and finding music and being a talent scout and stuff like that. So when I found Josh Gabriel through my talent scout job of working with Pete Tong, he gave me some music, and I said, hey, this is really awesome, but if you had mixable intros on your tracks, they would be way more programmable.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's a really good idea. And then I gave him some other pointers about, like, the breakdown and how long it was. And, like, if you just shorten this part to be only this long, I think it would be way more effective. And he did it. And he's like, that's a really good idea, too. Maybe one day we should make music together. And so Pete Tong didn't really have a budget for me. So he would throw me some of his personal money sometimes. But he came to me and he said, hey, I have this opportunity for you, if you'd like to take it, of remixing a New Order song. And, if we take it, I'll pay you X amount of money. And he said to me in his, he's like, you know what you should do? You should work on it with Josh Gabriel. And I was like, that's a really good idea, because we've already been talking about making music. And I knew Josh loved New Order. So I went to Josh and said, hey, Pete Tong asked me to remix this song. You want to do it with me? And he's like, absolutely. And, like, literally the rest is history. We had no plan of ever being anything, but we just realized that, he needed a DJ's perspective on things, and I needed to learn how to actually make music.
Yeah.
So that's really how G&D has grown, is that, he needed the dance floor expertise of a DJ, and I needed to learn how to make music.
Yeah. Our mutual friend here, Nick Wax, says, thank you, Pete Tong. I think we can all echo that. You guys have done some good kind of damage on, in the dance music era, so to say, in the last 20 years. I got a couple of questions. One is from Striker DX. How do you feel about how shift from radio to online broadcasting has affected the roles of a DJ? I remember relying on DJs for weather breaking news, a lot of things back in the day. So we're talking about a little different stuff, but I guess you touched that maybe a little bit in your early radio days, that kind of DJing.
What kind of DJing?
Like, you know, the radio DJing where a DJ also probably gave you the like part of news or weather and whatnot. I mean, that's obviously completely different kind of role
I never
for
was
DJing.
that kind of a radio DJ. I always had in Hartford. I had a radio show on a modern rock station every Saturday night for like 7 years, and I would come on at like I think it was 8 p.m. and they gave me very clear like boundaries for each hour of what to do. But I never was like the guy that was like, yo, the traffic is light and the weather is going to be 65 to 70. I never got to do that type of stuff. I've always been a very music focused radio DJ.
Cool. Well, we can talk about it or not. It's all for you to decide. Why did Gabriel and Dresden split up at one point?
Some of the things I can talk about.
Yeah.
Like the thing with Josh and I is that literally from 2001 to 2008, we spent every day together. And it was like, if it wasn't us in the studio, like slaving away 12, 14 hours a day, it was us on an airplane. It was us traveling the world, and we were thrust into this thing. It wasn't like, like we worked our way up. It was like, from our first record, we had attention.
Yeah.
And so we were just sick of each other, honestly, and we needed a break.
Yeah.
And, like we were working on music and things weren't going well and we were disagreeing on everything. And Josh wanted to make a certain type of album and he needed to do that. And I wanted to give him the space to do that. And, both of us had our own personal issues too. This is really why I don't want to talk about it.
That
we needed to deal with. And so when we came back together at the end of 2010, we were really happy to learn that each of us had dealt with these personal issues that were really holding us back.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
That's why.
I mean, it's. I was sort of not the same. I didn't split with myself, but my first two albums were made with this guy, JS16, Jaakko Salovaara. He was my producer, who I desperately needed in the beginning. Like my production chops were not that great then, and I was a radio edit guy. I didn't know tracks should have intros and outros and whatnot, so I learned a ton from him. But then by the time we started working on my third album, and we continued sort of in the same kind of path. Like I brought demos and he picked them apart, and then we started making a track out of like a bass line, and I thought it was like 90% done already when I took it in. So what was made together with him doing something like that was great, but it wasn't what I wanted. Like it wasn't me, and I didn't have too many. Well, it wasn't like he was just steamrolling stuff over me, but he was just so good and so quick that I had no chance really. And I didn't want to argue or even stop something because it would have just sounded good, but I didn't feel it was mine. So when the third album's process started, we tried several tracks, and it always happened. Like I took stuff to his studio where we would have started working, and it was like, well, okay, no, I don't want that. So then it was just like, okay, let's split this production thing. And basically I took the third album for me to produce, and since then I've been my own producer. We were maybe awkward for a little while as people, as friends, but we're still the greatest friends. And whatever we've had, like we've had Sandstorm breaking 200 million on Spotify, and we've celebrated that together and whatnot, because he was a key person to my career. and especially just the production of Sandstorm in practice as well and whatnot. But the thing is that I also got thrown in like that, and there was no tools, no inclination, nothing that could have helped, you know, in any sort of way. So I just, you know, the same way as you guys, just go, do, work.
It's so crazy. Like, you know, I think that Notorious Big, when he made that song, More Money, More Problems, that was probably one of the most prophetic tracks ever made, because it's so true that like success and money will definitely mess a lot of things up.
Yeah. Yep.
And it sounds to me like that, you know, is sort of played a role in your relationship with JS16, just like it did in Josh and I's relationship, and what, you know, brought us to break up. Yeah, and it's sort of a side note, but people often ask me my best advice for aspiring DJs and producers, and they expect to hear like how to EQ something or how to promote yourself or whatever. But my thing is just to say, like, do not quit your day job, and do not start making music that you think somebody likes, but make music exactly like what you want. And those two have to make music.
I know, but there are so many people, especially today, who have seen the glamorous superstar DJ thing or whatever pop thing, that think that it's easy or big money, and you do it for that standpoint that I'm going to become famous. But most people who I know who have been successful, have gotten successful, it started out of passion, love, some weird drive that, and then a lot of it is also why they are successful is because they created, often by happenstance, something unique.
Definitely. I mean, look at any successful music success story. Afrojack, you know, like, it's a perfect example of a guy who like made some off the wall music and, you know, had no expectations, and now, you know, is a multimillionaire. Yeah.
Yes. Picking which car to crash today. I mean, sorry, I didn't just say that. So you live in Cali now, but you visited you visited Austin for a while, if I'm correct.
I did move to Austin for a couple of years, and I actually miss it. Like, it's a great place to live.
Yeah.
You know, the winters are beautiful and mostly warm. People are really friendly. You know, like I was just blown away by how friendly my neighbors were, and like I, you know, walked down the street with my dog, and, you know, it would take 2 hours because all your neighbors just want to yap with you for like, you know, how you doing? How's the day going? You know, and it just was like, that doesn't happen here in California, so I do miss that.
Yeah. My manager Ryan has lived in Austin as well, and he's always telling sort of the same thing, and I don't know what it is. And I mean, I actually know that Austin tries to advertise themselves as that, exactly like the friendly city or whatever. And then like the cities, you know, it's a big tech center as well, of course, so that affects there's probably big money there, at least on the tech side, but they it is interesting. I've heard the friendliness from almost everybody who's been there. Like, I've played there several times, but I haven't really, you know, hung out there. I don't know the city at all.
It you know, it is changing because it's such a desirable place to live, and a lot of Californians discovered it through the, you know, their companies opening offices there and campuses there, and then, you know, now it's like, you know, it's kind of a little bit of a mass exodus out of California, and a lot of, you know, these people like Elon Musk just went there, and Joe Rogan just went there, and Dave Chappelle just went there. So it's like an interesting place now with all the big money there. And it's actually, funnily enough, not nearly as cheap as it used to be.
Okay, yeah. Well, that kind of makes sense. Goes sort of hand in hand.
You could get you could get a house for a couple of $100,000. It's a really nice house.
Okay.
That house is like $1 million now.
Okay. Somebody's asking, do we both have memories of the Gorge Amphitheater? Have you played there?
I've played there 3 times.
Yeah.
I've played there 2 for Paradiso and 1 for the Weekender.
Okay, yeah. I played there once, and my memories are just pure awesomeness. I mean, it's a gorgeous place, and I'd play there again anytime.
Yeah, what did you play there for? Was it Paradiso?
Paradiso, yeah. Don't remember which year it was, like 20... Nick Wax was driving me then, he probably remembers, but it was probably like 2012 or 14 maybe. Not sure.
That's the year I played there, 2015. And it was the same year that Above and Beyond played for the first time. And I remember I was sitting in their dressing room with them, and they're like, "We need to do a show here." And famous last words. They did, the 250 there, and then they did the Weekender there.
Yeah.
And it's like a perfect venue for the Anjuna family, with the camping.
Yeah, it is.
And the outness of it.
There is somebody called DJ John Parker here. I wonder if it's the John Parker we know.
You mean the record promoter?
Yes. I don't know. But he's saying hi guys. If it is, hi John. Good to see you here, man.
It is. Hey John, how are you doing?
One and the same, yes. Well, good to see you here, man. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to do some little reminders for myself so I remember to ask some stuff. Dave, do you have an experience with a fan who's been crazy or best or both? Is that the same thing?
Back in the in the first iteration of G&D, we definitely had some crazy fans that would find out where our hotel was and would be in the lobby waiting for us after the show.
Yeah.
How did you know? Well, we know that all the DJs stay here or something like that, but nothing too terrible. I've never had anybody come to my house unannounced or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the level of fame that I have, that I don't have that. And hopefully this isn't inviting that into my life now.
Yeah, but I also think that for us, I mean, yes, if you could get David Guetta level, I don't know, streams or other numbers and whatnot, then you might also get the crazies. But dance music in itself very often is about the music, about the producers and DJs being human as well. So people, they might come to you and slap the high five or shake your hand or take the selfie, but very rarely I've experienced anything threatening or even uncomfortable or anything like that, because it's our crowds most often are not crazed fanboys or girls.
Right, and they also don't know what we look like for the most part.
Yeah,
I've only been recognized probably about, outside of clubs and festivals, maybe 10 times in my whole life.
Yeah.
So one time on a train in Paris, somebody's like, "Oh my God, it's Gabriel Dresden!" And I was like, "How do you know who we are?" But that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with this.
Dave,
I don't want any crazed fans.
We have Mr. Mark Sixma on the chat as well. Shout out.
How are you? Mark Sixma coming on our show sometime soon.
When I started touring in the US, I was really, really blown away by people's road trips. Finland is about 1,000 kilometers tall and 500, 400 wide or whatever. So, 200 something miles and 600, whatever it is. And when we drive 2 hours, we're kind of halfway the country, well, sideways at least, and whatnot. And I've driven from south to north and back for skiing and stuff, but that 8 hours is crazy for me. Not crazy, but I don't do that often. And I had people who drove regularly 6 to 8 to 12 hours to see me play somewhere. And like during the same tour, I had people who left from like Vegas and did an LA and up the West Coast to like Portland, and then like it was insane. Sometimes they drove, and they were not crazed fans. They didn't do anything to me other than sometimes at the gas stop, like they waved hi and like, yeah, we're seeing you tonight as well. I was like, don't buy tickets. I'll put you idiots on the list, because it was amazing. But I would have never, thought of that. And I also think that, because I've never been like a candy raver, and and the people who put so much time and effort into all the candy and all the, furry gear and everything, at one point, for a split second, I thought it was ridiculous. Until I realized that I'm ridiculous. Like they are creating the atmosphere, obviously, and they're creating the atmosphere for me, for themselves as well, and everybody. And if you have my music or, that dance music that night that is making them do that, or they're doing it that for that reason, it's just crazy amazing. You have to like learn how to appreciate that people are doing that stuff because of you, at least to a part.
When we did our first album tour in 2006, we had this group of hippies that literally drove to every show. And I remember one night we played Detroit, and then the next night we played New Orleans. And they drove from Detroit to New Orleans straight. Yeah, I think it was like a 17-hour drive, and they all took turns driving to get to New Orleans in time for the show. And now people fly.
Yeah.
But it's usually to one show and not like the whole weekend. But that was like, I'll never forget that crew.
Yeah, I have a fan who became a dear friend from Canada. She's actually in the chat. She's asking, what about a Canadian girl driving a Finn DJ and an American manager across the US and Canada border? No questions asked back in the day. That's true. That was actually pretty crazy.
Yeah, unfortunately, getting into Canada from America is kind of challenging now. Mm-hmm. And vice versa.
Yeah, true. I've played a good bit of your stuff in my sets, and one thing that was really cool, at some point, you've had big tracks, but then there were some like not obscure but less known or tracks from your albums and stuff, and I played a couple of those. Well, I don't know if it's less known or not, but for instance, I played Sydney. I picked it off something. Maybe your CD, maybe your demo, maybe you sent it to me or something like that. It wasn't even a mixable version yet. I took beats from the beginning to the end so I could make a playable mix. And I played it in San Francisco at 1015 Folsom. And it was crazy because the track was like I would have played Justin Bieber. And I don't know if you remember this, but I asked you afterwards, like, have you played there lately? Because you were living in Oakland, I think, at that point. And it was just so strange to me because the track was, great. That's why I played it. But I thought it was like a sort of a no-name track. And then the place went nuts. So I thought I was like in a candid camera almost, because it was the clear winner for the night. And I played it in the middle of the night too.
That track was sort of born out of a motorcycle song called Around You. Mm. That for whatever reason, we signed with a record label that I won't name, you know, As the Rush Comes, and then they had options for the, you know, for single and maybe an album. And we gave them Imagination, we gave them Around You, we gave them this song, we gave them everybody's like, nope, no, 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 we don't like it. Nope, it's not as good as the Rush Comes. Well, no records are as good as the Rush Comes. Come on. They were like, why don't you make, you know, another As the Rush Comes? And I was like, we were like, no, we're gonna make these records. But so after we realized that Motorcycle wasn't going to really happen because the record label kept saying no, we turned it into Sydney. And so that's kind of why I think a lot of people knew that music, is because it was the basis of that song that Armin van Buuren played on A State of Trance. And
maybe I just, so that, you know, maybe I just totally have slept on it somehow. And then when I did pick it up, I liked it and I played it. But I just remember that was a magical moment, because I knew that the track is going to work. I wouldn't play a track that doesn't work. But then when it happened, it's just, and I'm looking like around, kind of like, who is pulling a joke on me, or is like Dave Dresden here or something like that. I don't know, but it was just very interesting. Cool track.
Yeah, I'm Ashton.
Yeah.
And this is punked.
Exactly. I played Dangerous Power a lot. I love that record. That was one of the first tracks that I actually technically listened to, and I love the sidechain pump that comes in when so heavy when it goes in the beats, because in the breakdown, that sort of grinding, slightly whatever out of tune, or like that lead line, that is it's
that's a Moog.
Yeah, that's a straight thing, and then when the beats start, it pumps so heavy. And I actually wasn't a fan of the big pumping that, you know, kind of that obviously Satisfaction and whatnot started, but around that time I was still doing kind of like energetic 16th note bassline trancey stuff, and not like big pumpy stuff. So I that was a huge, and I only got it when I played it at a club, like with the basically the bass power exchange in the pump was the thing that was like, okay, now maybe I need to look into the sidechaining thing myself.
We were very influenced by Daft Punk, and then, you know, we loved Daft Punk, and then when Eric Prydz made Call on Me, it was like one of the first tracks that we really loved that had that sidechain thing. And so that's really what we were trying to emulate, was Call on Me for that track.
Yeah.
Because we just loved how sidechaining gave room for the kick to breathe and room for the music to breathe.
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
And I think that's why it's such a, you know, that's why it's such a hit, is it gives everything a chance to shine.
Yeah, that's true. One of your big tracks, or it's actually a remix, the No One on Earth remix, is a classic in the Anjuna world as well. I played that a lot as just is, but then I made like a harder mix of it. There's a track called Palindrome by Nortec. I've sent it to you. Yeah,
I've sent that to me.
Yeah,
I still have it.
And I liked it because it gave it like a harder edge. But obviously the main track is the same, and the breakdown is pretty much the same. But then when it takes off, that was always a big track for me. But it's no surprise, it probably was a big track for anybody who played it. So, and
I mean, at the end of the day, that song was such a hit because it was such a great song.
Yeah, of course.
And could really apply their own life to it, and it was universal.
Yeah.
I actually thought it would be way higher in the ASOT top 1,000. For years.
Yeah.
For years, that one, because they did a trance top 1,000 10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
And that song was in the top 10.
Okay. Well.
Above As the Rush Comes. And so I was really surprised that it's lower than As the Rush Comes now.
Yeah. I've actually, I haven't really, I mean, I know it was going on, but I wasn't paying attention like what was where. But But the sort of a side note, but think about Armin and his team, you know, picking those tracks and doing the mix and everything. Like I don't even want to imagine how much work there is going into all of that.
Well, I think the chart actually came from people voting.
Yes, I know, but then he's compiling it all, doing it. It doesn't include just hitting play on something, but there's a little bit more work. And then there's the sort of year mix, which I think now is a little more than a year mix with the, like the, you know, 1,000.
I mean, the key to Armin's success is that he loves the music,
yeah.
Right? And you can tell that, like, you know, when he did that show last week, and he was like, at each song, he was just totally getting into it and singing the words and dancing around the studio.
Yeah.
That stuff is infectious, man.
It is.
Just to see a guy that's been that successful and, you know, that loved, still into it like a child, you know? You know, it definitely was inspiring to me.
Do you know what was really inspiring to me as well, talking about Armin? So, like 2 or 3 months ago, Armin and Ferry played back-to-back, like an hour set of vinyl.
Right.
It was really funny. Nothing really horrible, you know, mess-up-wise happened, but some, you know, offs and this and that. And guys they were clearly nervous and really concentrated at times. And it was so much fun. Like, I'm not sort of pro vinyl like that. I've never actually spun vinyl in a DJ set myself in a professional way. I mean, I can beat match maybe 2 tracks, but it was just they were giggly, they were giddy and clearly kind of nervous, and you don't often see the guys in that kind of you know, mindset.
Yeah, those two just love music.
Yeah.
And it just, success happened, you know, as a result of that love.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously, talent.
Yeah.
But, you know, both of those guys just love music, and, you know, they found their calling.
Yeah.
And I loved that set when they were playing the vinyl.
Yeah, me too. Well, I mean, obviously, such amazing music, of course, as well. Do you, well, I mean, you said that you never obviously realized, you know, life threw into this kind of path, and, you know, you guys met and you became Gabriel and Dresden and started doing that stuff. Have you, like, looking back, is there like a coolest place that you played at, or that you just got to visit because of, not necessarily even played, but has that had like an effect where you are like, holy shit, I'm here, and now like 10 years later or 20 years later?
Russia, playing Moscow for the first time was probably the most I can't believe I'm here moment that I ever had. Because of, you know, growing up in the 80s, you know, the Cold War, and like Russia was, you know, going to bomb America with nuclear weapons and like all that crazy stuff. To have finally been able to go there and do my thing as a musician was just probably the most, like, I can't believe I'm here moment.
Yeah.
But I actually, the other day, I was going through my phone and just looking through photos for the Anjuna Beats 20 compilation that we're doing, that gonna be announced soon. And I was just like, I miss traveling. Like, I don't miss DJing in clubs as much as I actually miss the traveling aspect of going to cities and walking around and taking it all in. That's what I miss the most, is the traveling.
Yeah.
I miss Indonesia. I miss Singapore. I miss Europe. I miss Finland. I miss all these places. It's.
I think it's what we've been able to do as a profession is obviously insane. And again, I don't want to even go to this that deep, but if there's anything good this lockdown stuff has brought, is that it's made me, at least, and I'm pretty sure you as well, realize what we've been able to do you know, what people have paid us money to do, made us travel somewhere and play music to people, and how much in the future, if there's booking agents here, yeah, no, I'm not gonna lower my fees, but if next time I have an idea that, hey, maybe I'm not gonna do it because I'm gonna nickel and dime somebody, I mean, that has nothing to do with anything anymore. Like when we get to do live stuff again, I don't think there's going to be little stuff that are going to be bothering me too much, you know?
Right. I mean, I think that, you know, when we finally do go back to touring again, I mean, I think that it's going to be a different industry.
Yes.
And I think that the fees are going to be lower. I think that there's going to be less people going to venues at first, because I just think that some people are going to still be scared no matter what.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to be dealing with coronavirus for a lot longer than we think.
Yeah.
But I do look forward to finally getting out there and playing again in front of people. It's going to be weird.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird.
Yeah.
And like, I'm used to this DJing to nobody in my home thing, you know, and using the chat room as my dance floor.
Yeah.
So actually having real people in front of me is going to be weird.
Very true. I think I'm going to like it still, but then at the same time, I think that the live streaming is not just a replacement. It's going to be something that I'll be doing still going forward now.
Well, you're kind of a pioneer in it, because you've been live streaming. I remember when you were working on your Waiting for Winter remix, and you were streaming it on
yeah,
like
Twitch.
All these different stream platforms that you were on at once, and I was like, man, this guy is just organized.
Yeah, I did that. That was actually that was 2018, and I actually started streaming in 2015. Not knowing much about it, and I sort of got a little backdoor to Twitch because of the Sandstorm meme stuff, and then I played at first TwitchCon in 2015, and then I played the second one as well, 2016, and the first one was the after party was with Deadmau5, and then the second one in San Diego was with Steve Aoki, and those were really cool events, but I wasn't a gamer, so I felt awkward a little bit. But then when I started actually doing the live streams, I realized that the gaming community and electronic dance music producers have quite a lot of overlap in the like skill sets or mindsets. And while I stopped regular streaming for a little while, but it was quite easy for me to jump back in a year ago when this started. So. And like I said earlier, I get so much out of this. I get to chat with you, but we have people there asking questions and feeling similar stuff that we're feeling. So that's really cool.
What I love about it is the community of people who found each other through the music, through the community. Like, that is the most rewarding thing to me, is that, like, again, like I said earlier, you know, there's so much that has happened because of the lockdowns, the depression, the sadness, the suicidal thoughts, the loss of income and all that.
Yeah.
But like have created something that has helped people get through it is the most rewarding thing to me.
Absolutely.
More so than me like reacquainting myself with my music library and all the memories that have been associated with all the music that I've been able to play and all the music that I've broken through the stream and all that. The most rewarding thing is still the community. Yeah.
And you know what I find really, really cool about Twitch and so from my point of view, selfish point of view, but sticking to streaming and starting it and keeping it going, I've found new friends, new music friends as well. And I found people who I didn't know about before, and I don't maybe want to name any names because then they'll think that I didn't look into them before, but that's not what I mean. I mean, not everybody knows everybody, but so there's very many up-and-coming producers who might actually have a great chance now to be directly connected to, say, to you or to Anjuna, because they've been at it and they've proven quality and they've proven community gravitates towards them. So I think that for that reason also the industry is going to be a little different, and it's going to be interesting to see when the bookings open again and when the clubs and events open again, if this affects sort of pecking order on any level at all. If, you know, pecking order is maybe a dirty word, but there is one, you know.
I tend to think that it will. And I'm not saying that because I'm part of this and that I'm hoping that I'm going to have, you know, a full touring career. But I just feel like, you know, promoters are into booking artists that have something going on.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like 11 and Jerome and you and all these others that have been communicating with their fans on a weekly basis, you know, sometimes multiple times a week, I think are in a really good position because, you know, when promoters say, who should I book? You know, some people are going to say Darude, 11, Jerome, Dave Dresden, Gabriel Dresden, because we're on top of mind because of our streaming.
Yes, absolutely.
It just really like how long this thing goes on for, you know?
Yeah, true.
So like there's artists that are jumping the gun and doing shows now, and it's like I just don't get it, but
yeah. I don't get it either. It's interesting. Also, just, you know, some countries like, you know, all right, guys, I think we're back. Crashed and I didn't really do anything with OBS, so it's interesting. Maybe that's a side that I need to be wrapping up with Dave. He's got other stuff to do today still. Say again?
I said the day is still young here.
Yeah, I know. Tracking Treasure Down was also a track that I played, and there was a Finnish remix of it called, or from Allende. I don't know if you remember that, but I think you had a Tracking Treasure Down remix contest, and he made a remix that I played.
We did it with, remember that magazine? I think it was called Remixed. Right?
Probably, yes. Yeah.
Yes, and so they, I think, included a CD with the magazine.
Oh.
Where, you know, it had the parts on it.
Okay.
And we did a contest, and we got hundreds of submissions, like 500. And we had to listen to every single one. We had to insert the CD into the drive and listen to each one. And, you know, usually you can tell right away if it's going to be something good, you know, based on the production level.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was so many remixes of that. I actually have all those CDs still. Like I don't know. You know, I just want to remember that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a little bit of a hoarder of music memorabilia.
Yeah. I did one remix contest like that. Those were not CDs, but they were just files, MP3s or waves, and I think I got 250 for. It was my In the Darkness track, and it was just it was amazing, but at the same time it's such pain to go through them, and I finally had maybe like 20 that I needed to just kind of like pick eyes closed, because you couldn't you know, tell the difference which one was, you know, the best out of those or not. But I remember somebody, was it Ferrier, who told that they had like thousands on one remix contest, and it's just impossible.
Yeah, I mean, he's Ferry.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the god of trance, you know?
Yeah. Hey, before I let you go, man, I needed to ask you one more thing at least. Your dog, he's called Willie, right?
Yes, we have two dogs. We have Willie and Mochi.
Okay,
Mochi Bear.
Oh, yes. Actually, yes. Now I remember I've seen pictures of Mochi as well. What kind of dogs are they?
Well, Willie is a Jack Russell Terrier mix. I don't really know because we got him from a pound, and they found him on the street in Texas. Oh, there's the emotes.
Yeah.
And then Karen got Mochi Bear about 10 years ago, also from a pound. He's a Lassie Poo.
Okay.
He's a Lassie Poodle. But I think he also has a little bit of like he acts a lot like a Chihuahua, and he has the same kind of nose snout as a Chihuahua.
Okay.
So I also think that Willie has some Chihuahua in him too.
Yeah. Hey, when you play your sets, do you have music actually rocking in the room, or is it in the headphones only?
I'm playing it loud, and
Okay.
I can't believe that we're 10 months into this and I haven't gotten a noise complaint from my neighbors.
Wow. Yeah, that is crazy.
Like last night, I was like playing my techno, and I mean it was loud, like. And I was just like, how am I not getting the cops called on me? I either have some really cool neighbors. I don't know my neighbors because I'm in California. Nobody knows their neighbors here. Or they actually can't hear it.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. I mean, you would think that you can hear it. Like I've got a studio this was purpose built. This is part of my actual garage, but it's a cinder block, like double insulated cinder block. Both to keep the sound out and keep the sound in, and I think I have like the cinder blocks are maybe like 50 or 60 dBs attenuation, and then there's doors and windows that might be like at 40 or 48 or whatever they are. So I can blast 100 dBs here, and nobody outside will actually know where just a slight little bass might be coming from if they are close enough.
Right.
But actually, most of the time when I'm on the stream, I am just in my headphones. And why I was asking is that when my dog is here, we have an Italian Greyhound. I actually need to have the music on because every time I just have it in my headphones and then I start talking, he spazzes because it could be sometimes minutes that it's quiet. And then I all of a sudden start talking to somebody on the stream, and he's like, "Wah!" And so I need to have like a little level of music so that he doesn't kind of get scared every time I open my mouth.
Well, Willie basically hates most music. He seems to be into the trance the most, but he hates techno. Like, if I bring him in the DJ booth on techno night, he is just like looking at me like, can I get away from you now? Can I get out of here? Mochi, on the other hand, is pretty open to most music and is pretty comfortable when I bring him up to the DJ booth at all times, or what genre. I need to plug in because my computer is like almost dead.
All right.
And I need to move in order to be near the outlet. There we go. It just gave me the like 5% warning. Uh-oh. I see a loading. There we go. All right.
Cool. When are you streaming next?
On Friday,
Okay.
we have up and coming Anjuna Deep artist Simon Doty at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And then at 6 p.m. I come on and play the new music. We call Friday New Music Friday to kind of like, that's when most of the music comes out in the week. So we kind of wanted to celebrate that on Fridays.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm going to do. And then Saturday is classics. And then Techno Tuesday.
Yes.
Those are shows right now.
Yeah, I often on our Sunday mornings wake up to you've been streaming already for several hours, and I start making some hot cereal for our kids, and we are listening to and watching people plamp while we get up and start our Sunday.
That's usually when have been deep into the music for a long time, and I'm like, wow, it's a whole new day over there.
Exactly. Cool. I think, man, we are going to wrap it up here. I am so happy that we got to do this. And
yep, awesome. This is actually the first such in-depth Twitch interview I've ever done. So
okay.
Thanks for breaking my Twitch interview cherry.
Nice. Pop.
And yes, look at all the plamps.
Exactly. This one more thing I'm going to tell you. So I still am not 1000% sure what plamp is, but I know what it is in our household. It is where our dog goes around 2 or 3 times and then slams or plamps down, and that's what my wife and I call a plamp.
That sounds pretty plausible.
Yeah.
Plamp is what we want to make it. When I make a reference to it on Club Quarantine, I'm usually referring to nefarious activities, like, but not necessarily nefarious activities: drinking, drug taking, sex. Who knows?
Who knows?
It's whatever. It really is a great word, because it really is whatever you want it to be.
Somebody says no pants.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. No pants. Well, it actually means it was made up on one stream. I think that Urban Dictionary says which one it was. And I remember the night that it happened, because I remember people came into our chat room saying plamp. And I was like, what the fuck is plamp? Right? And it means plants, lava lamps, and no pants.
Okay.
And I guess that was the code of whatever stream that was on. It was like the first or second week of lockdown that name came out.
Okay, cool. Well, part of history in that way as well, then.
Yes, it was Desert Hearts. All right.
Cool. All right, my friend, we are going to call it a night and your morning, day.
Yes. It's 11:17 a.m. here, and it must be 9:17 there, huh?
Yes, sir. Cool.
All right.
Guys, give it up for my friend Dave Dresden here. Go see his streams. Go check out Remedy Remixed album that came out, 2 weeks ago now, I think. It has 16 new versions of their Remedy album tracks, and mine is one of them, called 12. That happy dubsteppy, drum and bassy type of thing. And then I wanted to point out, I've been playing the 11 mix, Something Bigger. That bass line is awesome. But also my buddies, Lumisade, their mix is amazing as well, of the same track.
It. And I love how they reference silence in it. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
And when I first did that mix, I was like, when it broke down, I was like, holy shit, that's silence. And then, I was blown away by it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool mix. Those are very talented boys, my boys, and I wish them nothing but best. And they've slowly but surely been releasing stuff on Statement, and that Balearic Trance 2.0, whatever their sound is called. They've coined some sort of term like that. It's really cool. It's melodic, almost techy, techno-y sometimes.
They're Finnish?
Yes.
It's amazing how much talent is in Finland.
Cool. All right, Dave. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for joining us, Club Quarantine Pinecone fam. And we'll see you guys on Friday.
Cool. Namaste.
All right. Ciao.
right. Wow. Mr. Dave Dresden, my man, he's a walking encyclopedia of dance music. And he is one of those people who I think you can such easily see that he loves what he does. Obviously, everybody has to do their things to make a living and whatnot, but when you see Dave doing his thing, spinning music, selecting tracks that not everybody else will be playing, doing his marathon sets on stream, or if you see him live, you just feel that. So much love, respect, my hat's off to him and Josh both, of course. I think, guys, I'm going to call it a night with the lovely little OBS crash as well. I'm not very comfortable yapping because I don't want it to crash again. Let's see. That's a good idea, but I can't do that right now. Dave, we need to maybe do that again one time. Somebody's suggesting, Dewey is suggesting having Texi, Willie, and Mochi simultaneously on the same stream, and I guess it was a missed opportunity today. We could do that another time. That would be a perfect time for do some sort of a reconnection, doing the same thing maybe in a few months or so. Cool. Hey, and I wanted to thank you guys for joining me earlier at the Anjuna channel and then coming back for this, for me and Dave, and being so kind to Dave, my guest, and asking good questions. And I know I didn't get all of your questions answered, and my apologies for that. What I know of Dave is that if you do have a question like that, you can plamp it to his socials and he'll get back to you. Or you can bug me about it and I'll ask him if you want. But as you know already by now, we are approachable, and if there is a question that can be answered or something done for you, just ask and we'll see about it. I'm going to hit the rate button in just a second, and I'll see you guys on Friday.